the fastest growing fantasy motorsports app yet? On Grid Rival, you can join leagues with your friends and manage your own fantasy team on what race fans are calling, hands down, the best fantasy motorsport app out there. F1 and MotoGP leagues are now live for the 2021 season. Joining a league on Grid Rival will make every race more exciting, more engaging, and of course, more competitive. Download Grid Rival now on your iPhone or Android smartphone. Grid Rival is an unofficial application and not associated with Formula One, MotoGP, or any of their athletes.
If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact-resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. This Independence Day weekend, kick your party off with a bang. DeWeather Center presents the first annual DeWeather Cares Charity Softball Classic presented by the National Racing Network. The Palmerton Boobies, DeWeather Center Bluecocks, Blue Mountain I-95ers, Pocono Front Platers, Schuylkill County Crackers, Reading Nurses, Catasauqua Blue Tits, and Beltsville Lake Monsters will take the field in Emerald. Find out more on Facebook at DeWeather Center. DeWeather Center, offensively accurate. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Kansas Speedway, round number 8 of the High Slide Cup Series coming your way. My name's Chris Grant with the National Racing Network alongside Patrick Byrne and James Watson. Tell you what, gentlemen, after we had a week off, an interesting race at Talladega, a road course race, kind of back to the bread and butter of things here, James, heading to the 1.5 mile Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see them back in a more traditional type track, especially one like Kansas, where you're going to be ripping the top a lot more. It's going to be fun watching these guys try to manage the wall and not completely destroy the car, getting a little too close to where they really don't want to be.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about this place. Located on the Kansas side of the Missouri River, 1.5 miles in length, as we mentioned. Variable bank corners from 17 to 20 degrees. In fact, banking all the way around this place. The back straightaway even has about 3 degrees of banking, and it's anywhere from 9 to 11 degrees of banking on the front stretch. So no real time that you ever get flat in these cars. And Patrick, that's going to make tires a very big challenge here, because we're anticipating potentially seeing tire wear as bad as we saw it at the Atlanta Motor Speedway earlier this season.
Yeah, this track is very, very tight. You're constantly turning. It's very much like Chicagoland. And it's a very, very loose racetrack at times. So you could see cars getting sideways, burning off that right rear, or if they're just turning too hard, trying to dive into the corners too hard, they're going to burn up that right front. And no matter which way you go, the car is not going very fast.
And to give you the rules of the road here for tonight, this is round number 8 of the championship. As we mentioned, 129 laps is the race distance. Admin cautions, double file restarts, lap cars head to the back. The cars tonight are the NASCAR Cup Series cars, all built by the individual teams in the real world
Engines provided by Chevrolet, Ford, and Toyota, making upwards of 750 horsepower. 3,300 pounds. These are full-bodied, all-American stock cars, and they're kind of built. The racetracks are basically built for these cars, James, and that's really something to take into account here, is that this is the bread and butter track for this style of car.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun watching them pack up and try to hold on, having some technical difficulties.
I said, well, Patrick, we'll get to the pitch strategy here, because this is going to be a pretty big deal tonight, anticipating a fuel window of anywhere from 35 to 40 laps. The big number there is 5 sets of tires. We say limited tire wear only because you're not going to run the risk of blowouts, but tire management is going to be absolutely critical here tonight.
Yeah, these guys are going to need to save their sets. I'm anticipating anywhere from 3 to 4 pit stops over the course of the race, so that should be plenty of tires if you manage them right. Although if you're trying to try and take the lead in one of the earlier runs, maybe get some stage points, you could burn up a set of tires real early and maybe not have a set available to you at the end of the race.
That's going to be a pretty big deal here, because as we look at the pit windows, the race stages are going to run 50 laps, and then they'll have a caution flag. The second stage runs from lap 51 to lap 100, and there will not be a caution flag for that one. Stage number 3 is a 29 lap sprint to the finish here. Where that makes a big difference is you're going to have to make a pit stop somewhere in that first stage. Theoretically, the window could open as early as lap 5, but in reality, you're really going to have to try to manage where the cautions come and when do you want to try to take that gamble of making it to the end of stage 1.
Yeah, I'd bet a lot of these guys are hoping for maybe an early wreck, obviously not involving themselves, but a wreck right around lap 10, bring out a caution. That would put them right in fuel window to break up all their stops into 40-lap intervals and make it just to the end of the race. Now, if that doesn't happen, you could see a lot of guys trying some real wild pit strategies, some even trying to really conserve the car, really conserve fuel, and maybe even push it to that 50-lap mark.
Let's pick up one of the drivers with a win here this season, the 31 of Rob Pendleton. Currently sitting 7th in the point standings, and let's run you through your top 10 here. Rookie Wendell Elliott actually sits atop both the rookie standings and the overall point standings. Almost 70 points ahead of Jordan Props, Joseph Causey, Nicholas Lockard, and Christian Converse, your top 5. 6 through 10, Cody Henderson, Rob Pendleton, Greg Holt, Mark McCurdy, and Danelle Williams. It's really pretty interesting here, James. Hopefully you're kind of back, your mic setup here is back online with us here, but one of the interesting things to me is the names that we've talked about at the front a ton are not the names that we're seeing at the head of the field in points.
Yeah, you love seeing parity like this. Like, going back and seeing the dominance that Converse and Holt had last year, to see them not really in contention except a small couple races. It's cool to see all these different people throw their hats in the ring. You'd expect Converse and Holt to make their presence a little more known as the season goes on, but as of right now, it's fun watching these guys, these new guys come in and fight, especially Wendell coming in as a rookie and leading the points. That's unheard of. So yeah, you hope that the parity keeps going.
Yeah, one of the neat things about Wendell is he's a ton of fun to watch here. He's actually currently not on the racetrack at the moment, but he's very aggressive in his driving style. It has just been so darn consistent. In 7 races so far this season, 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s. I don't know that you could ask for much more in terms of performance here, Patrick, where Wendell is putting together that kind of dream season where it just seems like everything goes your way week in and week out.
Yeah, his season here has reminded me a lot of Chase Elliott in probably 5 years ago now, 5 or 6 years, when he jumped into the Xfinity Series as a rookie and just absolutely dominated, won the championship. I mean, he just came here, made his name known, and now he's leading everyone and showing them all how it's done.
It's pretty interesting, James, that you brought up the issues that Christian Converse has had this season. 1 season ago, 10 wins, 21 top 10s in 23 starts. This season, no wins, 3 top 10s, and an average finish of 16th. The interesting thing here is these are not all of his doing. It just seems like if there's trouble to be found on the racetrack, Christian Converse is going to be caught up in it.
Yeah, you're hoping that this is either, building some karma for the rest of the season and the playoffs get going, and you can cash in all that to an absolute demolishing run to the championship. Otherwise, it's just going to be one of those years where you wish you can fast forward through the calendar and get to the next one.
Absolutely epic save there by Joseph Causey right as practice is winding up. Let's get you the results here from, I guess we can't show you the results. We were going to try to show you the results from practice, but now we're going to come into qualifications. It'll be the best of 2 laps. We'll show you we'll get you qualifying mode up here on the screen, so you'll get to see everybody as they make their way out onto the racetrack. Alan Martin, Art Greco actually going to be the first driver to complete a lap here in the number 72 Monster Energy machine. Across the bottom of the screen, as always, you'll see the drivers' names light up. Art Greco, first driver through Sector 2. He goes purple. That means he's quickest overall. Green means you've gone personal best, but not quick enough to be the quickest in that sector overall. Orange means you are slower than your personal best lap time. Through 3 and 4 this first time by Art Greco will be the first one to put a time up on the board. He's going to come in 30.75 seconds, 30.750, the time to beat. Next driver across the line is going to be Rob Pendleton, making his way off at turn number 4. Alan Martin moves to the top of the charts. Rob Pendleton even quicker, 30.693 seconds, new quick time to the top of the board. Let's pick up Guy Snyder here in the 27. Pengrade on the side of that machine, actually making his High Slide Cup Series debut tonight. 2-time winner in the Thursday Truck Series, the Development Series, making his first Cup Series start here in the High Slide Cup Series. Alan Martin jumps to the top of the speed charts. There goes Rob Pendleton up to the top. He's going to be your quick timer. Timothy Pendergrass going to move up to the 3rd position. Wendell Elliott, your points leader off of turn number 2. He was second quick, 30.42 seconds down the back straightaway. See if Elliott's going to be able to get to the top of the speed charts. Not quick enough in the first half of the racetrack. See what he does here in the second half. How about a tie at the top of the charts? 30.369 seconds. Rob Pendleton set the lap first, so he will get to keep the pole, but identical times at the top of the speed charts. Somewhere, Damon Hill, where's Heinz Harald Frentzen? For the old F1 fans, you'll get that reference. Timothy Pendergrass going to be 3rd quick. Derek Grigsby 4th. Anthony Probst in the 5th position so far. Still only about half the field has taken time in qualifying. And I'll tell you what here, James. What does it say? We got Rob Pendleton and Wendell Elliott tied across the top of the board here.
I had to do a double take on my timing and scoring to make sure that it wasn't screwing up or I wasn't. And is it me or is Rector only? Yeah, Rector is stupid close to them too. That's unreal. How close the times are. This is going to be an incredible race with how close everyone is on time. This is going to be fun.
Christian Converse making his way out onto the racetrack here. Brooks Durning just finishing up his qualification run. Pick up Christian Converse here as he makes his way down the backstretch. He's doing kind of the brake dragging and all that kind of stuff that you do. There's a lot of tricks to build up heat in these cars pretty quickly here, Patrick. And a guy like Christian Converse is going to know every one of them. As we've got a new quick time at the top of the board. Brooks Durning, 30.332 seconds.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird, nifty stuff you can do during qualifying. A big one I know from the Pro Mazdas is when you leave your pit box getting ready to take the track, you do a bit of a burnout, bring it all the way up in first gear, all the way up in second gear, and your rear tires are lit up, ready to go. Drag your brakes pretty much so you hit the backstretch, and then go on and off. Your tires are already up to temperature, and you'll be about a tenth quicker than the rest of the field.
And as we can see here, when you're talking about a tenth of a second difference, I mean, the gap.
It's a lot.
That's a huge difference. 1/10 of a second is the difference between first and eighth here so far. Christian Converse, 30.729 is the time on lap number 1. He goes quickest on the first half of the racetrack. Lap number 1 is usually to get the tires up to temperature. Lap number 2 is to set the flyer off at turn number 4. See what Christian Converse is able to do. He's across the line. New quick time, 30.260 seconds. 30.260 for the Performance Sim Sport number 19 Toyota Camry of Christian Converse.
That just shows what those little games you play when qualifying, how much of a difference they make. That, like I said, just about a tenth of a second.
Picking up Brian Grubbs in the number 21, one of the lockered entries. I absolutely love the paint schemes that these guys run. All throwbacks, but rebranded basically under the lockered branding. Texaco Star, made famous by Ernie Irvin, Dale Jarrett.
Oh, you can't forget Davey Allison in that mix.
Oh, I was going to say, Dave.
now.
Well, Davey. I don't know that Davey ever did. Davey ever run the all black? I guess he did in '92. So
Yeah, when he won
did.
the championship.
yep, the original in the black Robert Yates Racing entry. Grubb's going to move up to 6th quick on the board, 30.4 seconds. Just about 90 seconds ago, that would have been close to pole time. Currently, Grubbs starting in the 6th position. 31.3, going to be lap number 2, and looks like we are almost finished with qualifications here. Not too much time left here. Quite frankly, a lot of cars that haven't taken time yet. Pick up the 80 and 9 of Joshua Gathright. Running that high lane. He's on lap number 1.
Just trying to get as much speed as possible on that high side.
Yeah, that's basically the trick here, is get it up close to the wall, wind the thing up as much as you possibly can, and then you really go ballistic on lap number 2. Nicholas Locker jumping up to the 6th position, 30.369 seconds. For Lockard, he'll line up tentatively in the number 6 position. Joshua Gathright, 30.96 on lap number 1. Looks like Andrew Schroeder and Mark McCurdy both on the pit lane. We'll see. Those drivers may just be waiting to set their qualification laps here right to the very end. Gathright going to move up to the 10th position. 30.420
What is our
seconds.
temperature? They
you know
waiting
what?
for the track to kind of cool down, or are they waiting for it to heat up?
I was going to say, let's show you the weather here. 69 degrees Fahrenheit, 69% humidity. Winds out of basically the south at this point at 6 miles an hour, 70-degree track temp. Basically tells me, I don't know if you're not going to get much cooler than that. I'll say that.
Yeah, I almost think that's too cold, and they're worried about it being too tight, maybe hoping the track would heat up over the course of all the cars running on it, and hopefully can get a little bit of a faster lap in.
Pick up Mark McCurdy. This is another of the lockered entries. This one a throwback to the old Busch beer schemes of the late 1970s and early 1980s. This will be lap number 1. Still waiting for Mike Pittman Jr., Garrett Belsey, and Adam Gardner to make their way out onto the racetrack. Lap number 1 for McCurdy. Not too bad. 30.59 seconds. 30.585, actually, the time for Mark McCurdy. And qualifications finish, he doesn't get the second lap in the books. Tough break there for Mark McCurdy. Times it out just maybe 10 seconds too late getting out onto pit road. There's your top 18 in qualifications. Christian Converse will be your pole sitter tonight. Lining up alongside him is Brooks Dirting. Brian Grubbs, Brian Rumpf, Rob Pendleton, your top 5. Wendell Elliott, Nicholas Lockhart, Darrell Rector, Timothy Pendergrass, and Joshua Gathright, your top 10. As we get ready to see the cars out here on the starting grid, we'll get you your starting lineup here in just a second. But I'll tell you what, guys, we're in for a real treat here with how tightly this field is bunched after qualifications.
Yeah, and especially with them running the high downforce package, we're going to see one heck of a pack race. That plus the close times to begin with, oh, it's going to be fun.
Here is your starting grid for tonight's race. Christian Converse and Brooks Dirting will line up on row number 1. Brian Grubbs and Brian Rumpf will make up row number 2. Row 3 is going to have Rob Pendleton and Wendell Elliott. Nicholas Lockhart and Darrell Rector in row number 4. Timothy Pendergrass and Joshua Gathright will line up in row number 5. Row 6 will have Derek Grigsby and Joseph Causey. Row 7, Anthony Probst and Alan Martin. Evan Kelsey and Mark McCurdy in row number 8. And gentlemen, a quarter of a second is separating first from 15th here this evening. 17th and 18th going to be Donnell Williams and Art Greco. Guy Snyder out of Pennsylvania in the Plains. Cody Henderson, the Nebraska native, in row number 10. Row 11, Nathan Aldrich and Brian Shaw. Row 12, Adam Gardner and Garrett Belsey. Mike Pittman will round out the field. Andrew Schroeder is your race control this evening. We'll pick up Christian Converse here at the front of the field. Lights are out. We should be going to green this time by here, gentlemen, but I'll tell you what, Patrick, we're in for a pretty big show here tonight. What are you looking for from your perspective here as we get ready to go?
I am definitely going to be following Christian Converse. I'm going to make sure nothing happens to him. He's had such a terrible run of luck this season. I'm hoping he can just take the lead and run away with it.
James, what are your final thoughts here as we get ready to go green?
Really going to be curious to see what lines we're going to see. If we're going to see them running the bottom or if we're going to see them knocking down the top.
The field is off of turn number 4, and as always, race fans, the start of the High Slide Cup Series is yours. Oh, trouble! Caution, lap number 1. Pendleton's going to be involved. Big trouble, turn number 1.
I wonder if Pendleton had some help or if it was just being too aggressive on cold tires.
I don't know, but we have a driver's meeting, turn 1. Take a look here and see. We'll try to see what happened here. Pick up Rob Pendleton.
I'm counting 7 cars involved.
Wow, that is absolutely not the way you wanted to see this race start. Pick them up as they head off here into turn number 1. That was second and third place, beating and banging on each other. That's what really got that whole train wreck started. Man, what a tough break early on here. Get you one more look at the replay here. We're going to pick up the 21 of Brian Grubbs. Man, that almost looked like a netcode deal a little bit. Pendleton was definitely coming down the racetrack a little bit, but man, it was a train wreck from there.
I wonder if Brooks was expecting Grubbs to kind of go more towards the actual bottom, try to hug the inside, and he wasn't expecting him to stay in the middle of the track and just came down and caused all that. I don't think it was any real aggression. I think it was just, garden variety miscommunication.
Well,
It's just funny, though. I said I was going to expect a pack race. I wasn't expecting that type of pack race already. Good gracious.
Yeah, a ton of cars already on pit road. In fact, everybody from 16th place Nicholas Lockard on back has made a pit stop. Actually, Andrew Schroeder driving tonight. Adam Gardner is the gentleman who's handling the race control duties for us this evening. And, man, this is a huge shakeup, not just from the perspective of the cars that were involved, but one of the things you hope for is to save that backup car. If you're running at the front of the field, don't use the backup car until that last pit stop. You're coming down for the money stop with 3 to go. 4 tires, fuel, take the backup car out, and you are clean, ready, and good to go. You're now going to have to go 120-plus laps on without the backup car. It changes things for you from a strategy point there, I would think, James.
Yeah, definitely, at least from a driving strategy standpoint, you maybe won't be as aggressive and hard on your stuff now that you have literally no room for error. Especially with it being a pack race, like I've mentioned, it's going to be a real uncomfortable next 120-plus laps for everyone involved.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
And also, for once, Christian Converse wasn't involved in that bad luck. Maybe it's starting to change.
I was going to say...
all of his closest competitors are now wrecked in the backup car all the way in the back of the field, so hopefully the luck trends for him throughout the race.
In before a commentator's curse.
That's right. Christian Converse will be the race leader. Rob Pendleton did not come down into the pit lane, so he will stay on the racetrack and will not need the backup car. At least not yet, anyway. Wendell Elliott up 3 spots. He's going to run in the 3rd position. Darrell Rector will line up 4th in the number 51 machine. 5th will be Derek Grigsby. Alan Martin 6th. Anthony Propp 7th. Art Greco 8th. Cano Williams and Cody Henderson will be row number 5 here for the restart. Mark McCurdy, Brian Rumpf, and Brian Grubbs all still on pit road. Rumpf and McCurdy are now 2 laps down to the race leader. Joshua Gathright and Brian Grubbs are both on the lead lap. Grubbs just making his way out of pit road, so he's going to catch up to everybody basically at full song here as we get ready to come back to green. That is caution number 1 on the evening. Goes from lap 1 to lap number 5. Field makes their way off of turn number 4. Once again, green flag goes in the air. We'll see if we can get some laps in here. Converse gets the good start. Elliott and Pendleton were going to battle side by side, but Elliott makes that pass pretty darn clean. Back about the 6th position.
I was going to say, he took off aggressively on the start.
Converse going to block the inside lane down into turn number 3. Here comes the 51 of Darrell Rector, looking inside of Rob Pendleton. One of the things that we may be looking at here, actually, we saw this in the DXS race that we were competing in on Saturday. You can run the inside lane, but you're going to burn the tires off. If you want to conserve, you're going to have to be up near the outside retaining wall.
Yeah, it makes for a really interesting race because you have guys coming, they want to take the lead, and of course you want that clean air. It's really easy to save tires in clean air, so it brings up the kind of strategy standpoint. Do I want to stay on the bottom, be in this clean air, not burn up my front tires, or do I want to run the high side, get past, get in that dirty air, and start burning up all my equipment? So it's really tough to play that game and come out on top.
Cody Henderson.
It's also a double-edged sword.
Go ahead, James.
It's also a double-edged sword being up front in the clean air because, yeah, you're saving tires, but on the flip side, you're not really able to save fuel nearly as well. So it really comes down to what's more important, saving tires or saving fuel. As
trouble back in the pack.
Oh, God, they're wrecking. Oh.
Trouble for the 72. The 05 involved as well. The 05 is Alan Martin. Looks like Cody Henderson may have been involved in that one as well. He's very slow down the inside, as is the 72 of Art Greco. Caution flag number 2 will fly here on lap number 9.
This throws fuel saving right out the window, at least for stage 1. This puts everyone right in the window to pit now and make it all the way to the end of stage 1. So I don't see fuel saving being an issue during this one.
Yeah, I was going to say, the window is now wide open here. Let's try to get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay here. It actually started a little bit further back in the pack with the 51 getting up into the outside retaining wall. That was Darrell Rector. Kind of show you where that one went here. Keep your eye on the 51 machine here as we come around to the front straightaway. Darrell Rector gets up into the outside retaining wall, bottles everybody up behind him. The 05 and the 710 make contact, hard hit for Greco into the outside retaining wall. All those
awesome
cars
job
at the
by
back
all
of the pack.
By and avoiding him.
Yeah, I was going to say, all those cars at the back of the pack. Woo.
Yeah, dirting almost destroyed Greco at full speed, and with him already using that fast repair, that was nearly game over. Also, can I just say how in both mile-and-a-half races this season, there's been a bajillion more cautions than both Talladega and Daytona races combined. That's really strange.
Yeah, I would really agree with you there, James. It's almost like we get enough practice on the iRacing platform that you can kind of goof off at Daytona and Talladega anytime you want with the Carburetor Cup races. That's not necessarily true of getting to run the kind of week in, week out mile and a halves. Taking a look here, a little bit of pit strategy is kind of being in play here as your top 4 cars have elected not to come down pit road, which I would say is a pretty interesting thought process here. But Rob Pendleton, Guy Snyder, Nathan Aldrich, and Brian Shaw all staying out on the racetrack. Ryan Grubbs stopped on lap number 4. He's actually made 2 stops so far in this race. And then Christian Converse and everybody else back through 18th place, Brooks Dirting, has made a stop on lap number 10. Like you said, Patrick, it's now basically made it where you can get to the end of the stage on fuel. I'm wondering, do you want it, knowing how many cautions we've had, does the game come into play of, I'm just going to sit out here at the front of the field. I'm not pitting until I need to pit. Because if you could go almost 40 laps, if you're going to run 20 under caution, you may not need to pit at all.
Yeah, if we're going to have caution after caution after caution, they'll be able to save enough fuel to make to lap 50 and pit then. If you pit on lap 50 at that stage break, that'll put you right in the window to make 40-lap runs all the way to the end of the race and take the checkered flag with about a gallon of fuel left in the car. So that's the prime strategy I'm thinking. I know some of these guys are going to blow my strategy out of the water, do something totally crazy, and maybe sneak up and get the win from out of nowhere. But from my thinking, that's just the way to play it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, if you can make it to lap 52, this does become a 2-stop race. You stop at 52, you would then be able to go all the way out to, assuming you went green for a pretty significant period, you would go to at least lap number 96. That puts you well within the window of making it to the end of the race here on fuel. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see. The other thing it does is it leaves you sets of tires in the box, which late race restarts, you may want to have all the fresh tires you can get your hands on.
Yeah, especially if you get stuck in the back of the field. We get one more caution right at the end of the race, put us in a green-white checker scenario. If you're back 10th, 11th, 12th, no reason why you shouldn't take those tires. You're on fresher rubber than everyone else. You'll be able to drive right through the field.
Going to be coming back to green here on lap number 13. Again, total of 5 laps on this caution flag makes it 10 laps of our 13 have run under caution. Rob Pendleton going to jump out to the early lead. Guy Snyder making his first High Slide Cup Series start tonight, going to run in the 2nd position. He'll have Nathan Aldrich and Brian Grubbs looking to his inside off the 2. I'll tell you what, James, you're sounding a little bit almost savant-like here. Well, caution flag back on the speedway. Trouble for Timothy Pendergrass and Darrell Rector. Caution flag number 3 flying on lap 15. Take a look at the Hot Shoe Race for instant replay. See what happened back in the back here. Oh, Pendergrass, who goes around on his own. Several cars going to be involved,
including the other 31 of Brooks Dirting. That might be race over.
I was just going to say, he looks okay from a cleanliness perspective here, but you can see the right front corner of that car banged up. Not what he wanted to see, and this is starting to really develop that feel for the race at Atlanta, and this has been true in several of the High Slide Cup Series races. We either have a ton of caution early or a ton of caution late. We're seeing a lot of it early. There's going to be a lot of attrition in the race at this point. you're now sort of playing the game of survive to the end and just make sure you're in that top 5 when we get to those last 25 to 30 laps.
Yeah,
See,
heck, at this rate, surviving to the end's going to be an accomplishment. Good gracious.
there's Brooks Dirting. Well, it looked like, yep, Brooks Dirting jumping out of the race car. His night looks to be over here. There's the 0-2 of Evan Kelsey making his way back out onto the racetrack. So let's kind of reset the field here for you. Rob Pendleton will be your race leader. Nathan Aldrich will line up his outside in second. Brian Grubbs, Guy Snyder, and Wendell Elliott, your top 5. Christian Converse, Anthony Props, Derek Grigsby, Donnell Williams, and Andrew Schroeder. The top 10 here on the restart. This is the more caution laps that we see here, guys, the more I think we're probably pretty close to you can make the end on fuel.
Yeah. Good rule of thumb to go by is every 1 lap of fuel used under green flag. If you're doing a caution lap, you now have 2 laps of green flag fuel. So it's about half the fuel consumption. So we run 20 laps under caution now. You'll definitely make it to lap 50 or even further.
And taking a look here, we'll go pick up the onboard here with Rob Pendleton. You can hear him shutting the car off. So he's in pretty extreme fuel-saving mode at this point. All in the name of get me to the end of the stage when you can get the work done under caution. It's almost comical to hear the car starting on and off like that, but give you the rundown here from the back of the pack. Brian Rumpf is on the racetrack, currently in the 25th and final position. However, he is 9 laps in arrears to your race leaders. Mark McCurdy being scored 6 laps down in the 24th position. He is now on pit lane, as is Nicholas Lockard. Art Greco being scored in the 23rd position, 2 laps down. Brooks Dirting, the first car out of the race. He will finish in the 25th position once McCurdy and Rump are able to complete enough laps to come around him here. Nicholas Lockard down 14 spots from the drop of the green flag in 21st. Absolutely not the night he wanted to have, as Lockard was one of the pretty serious contenders in points, but he needs a little bit of help from Wendell Elliott. Lockard currently sitting on 275 points in the 4th position, 98 points back of Wendell Elliott. Now, points only matter to a point because you're going to reset for the championship, but the stage points and everything else that come along with it, those are a huge deal as we get later on in the season, and Nicholas Lockard is not picking up any of those this evening. Lights are out on the iRacing safety car. We're going to come back to green flag racing here on lap number 19. Pendleton grabs the early lead, but it's going to be a big old scrap back behind him as Grubbs is going to lead Wendell Elliott and Christian Converse back towards the front. Nathan Aldrich, Guy Snyder on the outside.
Brian Grubbs making a strong run on the inside. He's going to clear Pendleton easily. What almost seems like a slide job, but not quite.
Yeah, it has the look of it, that's for sure. But the reality here that we sort of can't ignore is the fact that if we look at Christian Converse here, running down on the white line, just about anyway, 1 and 2. He's making up time and he's making up ground, but he's using up his tires a little bit, and he does have fresher rubber than does both Brian Grubbs and Rob Pendleton. Pendleton hasn't stopped yet. Now, we've only heat cycled the tires a couple of times, but eventually these things are going to skunk pretty bad.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see the difference on fresh tires, even with just the little bit of extra laps that Christian and Grubbs' tires have to Rob. It's really gonna, if we do get some late race cautions and those extra bit of tires, and there's another caution, unbelievable.
Oh, caution flag on the speedway. Every time James starts talking, a caution flag flies. A Watspin gets his wings. Let's pick it up here, see what happened to Joseph Causey to bring out the caution flag here. That's the number 88 machine. Art Greco to his outside. Little bit of contact. Causey is going to go hard into the inside safer barrier. That brings out caution flag number 4.
I was going to say, Art Greco must have just gotten back from the county fair or something, because I think he's still stuck in that bumper car's mindset. I don't think he's gone 5 or 6 laps without getting a new scratch on that car.
Ooh.
Wow.
Man, I just got to say that the way Causey's car went in the wall, shades of Priest here a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
like
that
almost
was
carbon copy.
Yep, that was a very big hit. I want to remind everybody before we get any further in the broadcast here, need to say a huge thank you to the sponsors of the High Slide Cup Series, including Brother Sister Trucking, Alarm Technology Security Systems, and Ray's Import. Thank you very much for your support of the High Slide Cup Series and their broadcasts right here on the National Racing Network. A couple of cars making their way down pit road, including Brian Grubbs, Timothy Pendergrass, Guy Snyder, Nathan Aldrich. Grubbs making his 3rd stop of the race at lap number 22. You would tend to think that these are probably fuel-only stops. Where this really starts to get interesting here, Patrick, is the more we think about the strategy game, you're potentially setting yourself up for very late stops, maybe even making it on only one more pit stop.
Yeah, with all the costs we've had early, with the 21 car pitting now, if he saves enough fuel throughout all the cautions and all the green flag racing, it might eliminate that late race pit stop, and he might be able to drive by everyone else and hopefully hold them off when they come by to pass him on fresher rubber.
Definitely something to keep an eye on here is, for a lot of these drivers, I mean, Nicholas Lockhart is back in the pits, and we'll pull him up and show him here. He's been involved a couple of different times tonight in incidents. This will be pit stop number 8 in the first 25 laps for Nicholas Lockhart. But when you have the backup car, why not come in and top it off with fuel every single lap? Sit at the back, take your little bit of fuel, come right back out to the front again. There's really no doubt. It's almost the inverse of the wait as long as possible strategy. You're going to say, I'm going to take fuel every possible lap under caution. Who knows where the rest of the cautions may fly?
Plus, another thing to keep in mind is, depending on if he's gotten any damage and how bad the damage is, instead of wasting the backup car, come in and get some of that fixed every so often, so that way you still have it for extreme damage like we've seen befall some other competitors tonight.
Let's run you through the field here again as we're going to get ready to come back to Green Flag Racing. Christian Converse will restart as your race leader. Rob Pendleton's going to restart to the outside of row number 1. Wendell Elliott, the second of the Performance Sim Sport cars in the race here, will line up inside of row number 2. To his outside is Jordan Probst. Jordan had a very good run at Talladega, backing that up with a good effort here this evening. Derek Grigsby restarting in the 5th position, that number 42 Titleist sponsored entry. Restarting on his outside will be the 710 of Cody Henderson, or at least scheduled to be the 710 of Cody Henderson, in the 6th position. Evan Kelsey will restart in 8th. Sorry, Andrew Schroeder in the 47th is going to restart on the outside lane there. Then Cody Henderson, Evan Kelsey, Donnell Williams in 9th. The Swisher Sweets, number 82, entry into his inside, using his outside, the 10 of Michael Pittman Jr. in the number 17. So Fields coming off at turn number 4. Pace car is in. Another 5 laps under the caution flag puts us to 19 of our 25 laps run under caution. Green flag back in the air. We're underway once again here at Kansas Speedway. Converse grabs the lead. Top 5 or 6 cars going to be all single file. Don't have to look very far back, though, to see Andrew Schroeder and Evan Kelsey battling side by side on the back straightaway. Looking a little bit deeper in the pack here, Darrell Rector and Garrett Belzy get a battle. Belzy back in the 15th position. Pretty hard to believe here, guys, but with all the caution flag laps that we've run, we still have 20 of 25 cars running on the lead lap.
Yeah, these Cup cars, you could drive them with a little bit of damage and still maintain enough pace to stay on the lead lap. Maybe they're just saving that car. Maybe they'll take the backup car during that stage break, or maybe they're saving it to later in the race and just putt around with the damaged car and take the backup car with maybe 10 or 15 laps to go.
New quick lap time set by Jordan Props to the number 98. As Wendell Elliott comes around Rob Pendleton. Props going to fight back to the inside, try to get around Pendleton for the 3rd position. He has to fall back in line down the back straightaway and into turn number 3. We're going to knock on wood here and say at some point we have to start logging a bunch of laps. If you're the race leaders and you want to take the strategy element out of the race for some of the drivers farther back, you almost want this to run to the end of stage number 1 now. Well, we say that.
As we say that.
As we speak, commentator's curse strikes once again here. Timothy Pendergrass having an issue on the racetrack. Get you the Hot Shoe Raceware Instant Replay. That 44 machine has really been having... Oh, man.
Oh.
Don't know who that was that he clipped. Wow, let's show you the onboard from Timothy Pendergrass.
I think it was the 89.
89 car, yeah, having an issue. Got down into the infield grass, collects the 44 of Pendergrass. He goes for a loop, and unfortunately, Timothy Pendergrass has to take the tow back to the pits, and we go under caution here on lap number 30. Already working.
Well, that's going to be a long tow for him.
It's going to be a long tow, and he's already got a ton of damage on the car, so... Looks like a very, very long pit stop for the 44, and Timothy Pendergrass going to be coming his way. As we look at timing and scoring, Brooks Dirting, Joseph Causey both being scored out of the race. Brian Rump is 8 laps down, running in the 23rd position. Mark McCurdy, Timothy Pendergrass, both on pit road. Michael Pittman Jr. and Joshua Gathright also on pit road as the 72 of Art Greco is your lucky dog. He will still be at least one lap in arrears here to the race leaders. Hey, James, you can talk to this a little bit here. We see Christian Converse all the way down on the apron of the racetrack. He's not trying to get fuel maxed, into the pickups and all that kind of stuff. He's trying to cool his tires off, isn't he?
I mean, it's definitely a way to do it. I've just never really seen that used much in iRacing. I've personally never done that, never have even thought to do that. But then again, I'm not entirely on Christian Converse's level, so maybe that's why.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a strategy, Patrick. You're trying to find the coolest part of the racetrack to run on to keep your tires as cool as you possibly can.
Yeah, so as much as we talk about tire wear and how that works is actually pulling the tread off the tires or pulling the sticky stuff off the tires, you also have to worry about heat. There's a sweet zone you want to be in. If it's too cold, there's no grip in the tire, but if you get them too hot, it's almost like that rubber turns to like a liquid and you're just sliding around on it almost like you're racing in the rain. So if he's been pushing hard, running that bottom line, trying to build a gap, now he wants to bring those tires back down, get them right back in that sweet zone, so when the green flag drops again, he can just take off like a bullet and go outrun him again.
And that's something that some of the Formula cars will have all the sensors and all that stuff that you can see in car what your tire numbers look like. Not necessarily true here in the Cup cars. Your information is fairly limited that you have access to.
Yeah, these cars don't even have a fuel gauge. They don't have a speedometer or anything. The only thing that tells you what speed you're going down the pit road at is a light that either turns yellow, green, or red, depending on if you're slower than speed limit, faster than speed limit, or if you're just right.
Lights are out on the iRacing safety cars, so we'll come back to green here at lap number 35. Put another 5 laps of caution on the scoreboard, and that means it will be 25 laps that we've run under the caution flag of the first 35 scored in the race. And James, I would imagine the joke is you call this eye-pacing is what we've sort of done here tonight. But the reality is, in a race this long, you know you're going to get the green flag run, and you kind of have to be mentally prepared for this restart's going to be the one that we go green.
Yeah, but at the same point, you're kind of stuck in the thinking of, yeah, I think we're pretty much well past that. It's just going to be a wreck fest. Hold on for dear life.
The field's going to make their way off of turn number 4. The pace car ducks back into pit road. Christian Converse, Rob Pendleton will lead the field to green. Converse brings them down pretty slow here. Everybody's going to stay nice and stacked up. I was about to say a couple of caution flags ago here, James, you're almost looking like a savant. I did not see this race being a pack race. And that's exactly what we've seen to this point, is a lead pack of cars that just cannot separate themselves.
Yeah, and that's entirely by design. That's the current package that NASCAR has for the mile and a half on the current gen Cup cars is the high downforce, low horsepower package. As old Junebug said, the giant ass spoilers. So yeah, this is exactly what we've come to expect on mile and a half, because that's exactly what they designed this package to be. So you're just kind of having to manage the run like you would in a plate track in a much different fashion, because you're having to deal with the severe dirty air that comes with the added downforce.
Yeah, and talking about the dirty air here, this pack of cars that's being led by Darrell Rector, Rector's only about a second behind the race leaders, but Evan Kelsey, Guy Snyder, Alan Martin, these guys are really kind of in a hornet's nest here because you may have some damage, the car's not handling the way you want it to, and there's nothing but dirty air ahead of you.
Yeah, you're just straight up not having a good time right now. You're just hoping that something will change the day and change your favor. Ideally, another one of the big-ass wrecks that we've been having today that you somehow managed to miss, but everyone else doesn't, and then next thing you know, you're a friend.
Well, one of the guys who had a little bit of an issue earlier in the race just set the fastest lap of the race. Cody Henderson at a 30.33 seconds. About a tenth quicker than everybody else in front of him at the front of the field here. And starting to see things settle down just a tad at the front as Henderson's going to look to the inside of Pendleton through 3 and 4. Rob Pendleton still has not stopped, so he's pretty clearly trying to make it to the end of stage number 1. Henderson made the stop at lap number 10. He's up 16 spots for the drop of the green flag. Number 2 on the brother-sister Trucking Hard Charger award list. Currently, that's going to go to Andrew Schroeder, who's up 19 spots, taking advantage of some of the drivers that had misfortune early. He's going to have the 27. A guy, Snyder, looking to his inside down the front straightaway.
I was going to say, Guy Snyder, for his first race in the series, he is really putting on a show, driving it real hard, driving underneath the guys, and making moves and passing cars. It is awesome to watch him do this. Even throwing a little bit of a bizzle, I might have taught him that one.
Lots of bizzles. The other one that we haven't talked about yet, the big smooth move of the race. Don't necessarily know that we have an award nominee for that one yet, but I'm sure we're going to see one before the end of the night here. There's Snyder looking to the inside. He's going to try to go 2 for 1. Has to jump back in line. Is Anthony Props and Derek Grigsby going to fight side by side for 3 and 4? Oh, Cody Henderson up into the outside retaining wall. Saw the sparks off of that 710 machine.
He must have some low-friction compound or something on the right side of that car, because even with getting into the wall, it didn't seem like it slowed him down one bit.
Just a little Kansas stripe. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, going full willpower here. Smack the wall and keep the foot in it. Snyder now looking inside of Anthony Props. Catching up pretty quickly on Derek Grigsby here as well. Take a look at the right-hand side of Cody Henderson's machine. See if we can see any damage there. Doesn't look like he banged it up too bad. Got a good fight developing ahead of him here for the second position as well between Rob Pendleton and Wendell Elliott. Working lap number 44. Lap number 50 will be the end of stage number 1. And we will see the caution flag fly there. So pit stops will come at about lap 51, lap 52. And James, I would sort of imagine here, if you know that you have the stage break coming, you may have planned some of your other pit stops, knowing how many caution flags we had. I don't necessarily need to take a damage repair here. I know I'm going to get the caution at lap 50. Then we can reset the race from there.
100%. That's the thing about stage breaks is it makes strategy in some ways a little easier because you have some guarantees that you can factor in. Where a regular race, you have absolutely no idea what's gonna go down. You can make a plan, but okay, there was nearly another caution. Oh boy, I'm just gonna stop talking for a minute.
The 42 of Derek Grigsby bounced it off the outside safer barrier. How about Guy Snyder here into 27? Now up to the 4th position and pretty quickly chasing down Wendell Elliott. Snyder does have 12-lap pressure tires, which may be playing into this a little bit anyway. He stopped at lap number 22.
Wendell Elliott going to block the line all the way down to the infield grass.
Superb bizzle on the rookie.
How about this one here, guys? Yeah, really. The 22. If you stop on lap 22, that's going to get you to at least lap 66. That gets you to lap 110. If cautions keep coming at the rate we're going, we could see Guy Snyder make this on potentially one more stop.
See, if I was Guy Snyder, being a rookie in the series, not running for points, it's totally safe for him to play a wild card strategy. I almost think for him, don't pit under the stage brake, get all the way to the front of the field, pit on lap 66, might go a lap down, but if we stay green, it'll bring him right back up to the front of the field. So, interesting ways he could play this race.
Absolutely. I mean, there are so many different games that you can play here. You slide back in the field just a little bit, pick up Darrell Rector, Nicholas Lockard, Anthony Props. Nicholas Lockard has made 8 pit stops so far tonight, currently running in the 8th position. Getting that number 10 tide ride buttoned back up and well placed here for a run at a pretty good finish. And there's the end of stage number 1. Caution flag is out. Christian Converse will pick up the win. He had a gap of about 1.8 seconds at the start-finish line. Rob Pendleton will finish 2nd, Wendell Elliott 3rd, 4th to Guy Snyder, 5th Derek Grigsby, 6th Cody Henderson, 7th Darrell Rector, 8th Nicholas Lockard, and 9th Anthony Props. 10th place in the final stage point goes to Andrew Schroeder. And Patrick, for Christian Converse, every stage victory is important at this point. With the luck that he's had this season, if he can get the car in the playoffs, the playoff points will be absolutely huge.
Yeah, he needs every chance he can get to just try and finish up front in the stages, try and win the race, or at least finish really, really good, and just try and lock himself into the playoffs, especially with how close they're looming. I am not sure the points off the top of my head, not too good at mental math, but I almost want to say he needs to win this race if he wants to make the playoffs.
Taking a look here. Well, maybe not, because he's currently sitting 5th in points. Now, he's a ways behind, in fact, more than 100 points behind Wendell Elliott as the field makes their way down pit road. It definitely is going to come into play, that's for sure, because he has a total of 66 playoff points. Seven bonus points as well. So it's one of those where he's going to be competitive with Wendell Elliott, but he really needs to make the rest of the regular season come into play. And as a little bit of a bonus here, we will talk about this more as the race goes on, but next week is All-Star Race Week. This is going to be utterly spectacular. The top 12 in points need to make sure they're in the top 12 in points. We'll say it that way. It's currently Garrett Belzy sitting on 206 points. Alan Martin at 196 is within striking distance, as is Gavin Fitzgerald, Brian Rumpf. Let's see if we, for first have a stage winner that we can interview here. See if we can. Doesn't look like we have Christian Converse available for an interview right now. So let's talk a little bit about what we have coming up here next week, guys. If you followed the TNT Special Event Series here on the National Racing Network, you are going to be a fan of this one. 100 laps will be the distance next weekend. The top 12 in points will be running the IR18 Indy car. Everybody else in the field will be running street stocks. A solid 130 mile an hour gap in speed differential. That race is going to be absolutely epic. Broken down into stages just like we see in the real NASCAR All-Star race, but with a completely iRacing twist. I'm a huge fan of this.
I was going to say, Charlotte is a lot tighter, too, than some of the tracks we run in TNT. So I am expecting lots and lots of wrecks, mostly with Indy cars getting under the rear bumper of the street stocks at about 100-mile-an-hour speed difference and just launching them over the catch fence into the stands. I would be surprised if we don't make national news with that one.
Yes.
I am lobbying hard for them to add a couple of cars for the broadcasters because me and Patrick with our TNT special event stupidity experience, that just sounds too fun to miss.
Yeah, this one is going to be absolutely spectacular. Don't want to miss it. Coming up next Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Actually, we have a pretty light week here on the National Racing Network, and we'll tell you that one once we get to the end of the race here. But we're getting ready to go here. Lap number 55 puts us at 30 laps under the caution flag. This one was planned, though. It was a stage break. Christian Converse, Rob Pendleton going to make up row number 1. Wendell Elliott, Guy Snyder in row 2. Derek Grigsby, Cody Henderson, row 3. Nicholas Lockhart, Anthony Props, row 4. Garrett Velzy, Evan Kelsey, row 5. At some point here, James, I'll let you have the curse this time. We have to see a long green flag run, I would think. And we sort of got that towards the end of stage number 1.
Let me have the curse this time. You realize that I've caused like every caution tonight. I don't know what you mean by have it this time. I've already had it. Put that juju on Patrick. Leave me alone.
Off of turn number 4, green flag going to go back in the air.
Christian Converse again with an amazing start. He jumps out, takes an early lead.
Yeah, that
but
was...
Rob Pendleton looking.
Oh, I thought we were going to have them 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. Wendell Elliott and Cody Henderson down to the inside. Henderson able to get the damage repair done. It was only 14.73 seconds on the stop for Converse. And everybody on the lead lap stopping there at lap number 52. Joshua Gathright, Art Greco also stopping at lap 53 as well. We've got to fight for the race lead off the turn number 1. Wendell Elliott down to the inside. He's going to have Cody Henderson with him. Christian Converse, Rob Pendleton high off of 2. Oh, big move.
Oh,
Henderson down to the inside. He's going to... I don't think he hit the inside wall. Caution flag flies. There is no way. Yes. We're getting there.
I don't think he hit the inside wall.
I don't think he did. Let's go. We're going to give you this one from the cockpit view here. On board with Cody Henderson.
What an absolute save. What a piece of driving.
Bruh, unbelievable. How in the world?
I think we need to get him in here and ask him just how he saved that car.
Yes. If one of you guys is able to drag him in, we need to talk to Cody Henderson. Let's see, got him. Cody Henderson, Chris Graham in the NRM booth. One, are you still breathing? And two, how in the world did you save that?
Oh man, that took that. I didn't even know I had control. I just had luck on my side, I think, on that one. I'm sweating bullets right now.
Well, that's the best piece
Cody,
of driving we've seen all night.
Yeah, doggy, man. You know what I like to do.
Seeing you coming down pit road here,
Thanks,
are you going to have to change tires here? Yeah, it looks like you're going to have to take 4.
I slid them there. I'm gonna gamble here. We're on another different pit strategy now. We'll make it work though. We'll get back at it.
All right, Cody. Thank you very much.
You've been fast all night. Hopefully it works out for you.
That was absolutely fantastic. So Cody Henderson going off strategy now, stopping at lap number 58 is what the official tally will be there. And Patrick, this is sort of where we talked about this a little bit here. He can go to lap 102, which puts him well within the window to make it on one more stop here. I promise I will learn to speak English tonight. What becomes the alternate strategy there? Because everybody is still going to have to make multiple pit stops. So does he go into, massive fuel save mode, or what becomes the thought process as a driver?
If I were him, I would stay back in the pack, maybe drop back a little bit, stay in the draft, but far enough back to avoid any more further incidents. Under all these cautions, be shutting off the car, saving as much fuel as possible, stretching the car out as long as you can, especially since he has to use another set of tires now. You want to save those tires, make sure you have a set to bring it to the end of the race. And hopefully on that last fuel run, just be able to push his way, all the way back up to the lead and try and win it, or just finish good in the points tonight.
Well, here you go. We actually now have 4 cars that are going to be running this alternate strategy. The 51 of Darrell Rector, also the 48 of Garrett Belzy, 27 of Guy Snyder, and the 710 of Cody Henderson, all going to be on some sort, potentially, of an alternate strategy. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how the race develops for these cars. We should get the one to go signal here next time by. This will make 35 laps run under the caution flag this evening, 7 caution flags in total. This definitely has the feeling of the race we saw at Atlanta to kick off the season. The interesting part about that was they had 11 cautions for 46 laps. 35% of the race was run under yellow, but that was all early on in the race. The later we got, the longer the green flag runs got. This is really shaping up to be pretty interesting if you're going to try that big fuel save strategy.
Yeah, at some point these drivers, all of them eventually get sick of the constant cautions. They're all going to settle in. They don't want to be that guy that brings out the next caution. So I'm not expecting any more, at least any more consecutive cautions. I do expect at least 1 or 2 more over the course of this race.
And to remind everybody, the next stage break is at lap 100. However, that will not see a caution flag. That was planned from the beginning. The High Slide Cup Series does the 2 stage breaks, but only one of them will see a caution flag. We go back to green flag racing here. Christian Converse, another fantastic start. Rob Pendleton looking inside of Wendell Elliott into 1. How about the run for Jordan Props to the number 98? That car up 9 spots from the drop of the green flag. Trouble towards the back of the pack. Caution flag's going to come out, and unfortunately, it's for one of the guys that we talked about needing some help on the strategy. Guy Snyder down to the inside. Just slides up the racetrack a little bit.
Looks like a pit maneuver there.
Yeah. That one was unfortunately not real good news for Brian Rump, who has to jump through the pit area.
That might be the candidate for the big smooth move of the race tonight.
It may be. Get you a little bit different look at that one here.
My guess is that he just tried the side draft, and it was a side draft gone severely wrong.
Seeing that Nathan Aldrich also has had to tow into the pit area. So, several cars having issues here. Guy Snyder, Nathan Aldrich on pit road. Taking a look at who is now going to be scored as out of the race and not currently turning laps. Brooks Durning will finish in the 25th position this evening. Joseph Causey will finish 24th. Tough break for the winner at Watkins Glen. Brian Grubbs is off the racetrack as well. He will finish 23rd. 22nd, Brian Rumpf. Andrew Schroeder out of the race in 21st. Mark McCurdy is on the racetrack, several laps down in the 20th position. Nathan Aldrich did have to take the tow into the pits, and unfortunately it looks like his night will be over in the number 14 machine. Timothy Pendergrass, 1 lap down. In fact, the first car 1 lap down. He should be your lucky dog, running in the 18th position. Guy Snyder in 17th was able to retain his spot on the lead lap. As we work under the 8th caution flag of the race, Garrett Velzy, Guy Snyder on pit road. And this is where the strategy, to me, the strategies are going to really start to get interesting here. Because the stop at lap 65 puts you to lap 109. You're now once again well inside the window of making it to the end of the race. I mean, this could boil down to when the caution flag flies late in the race here. Who's going to be the driver that times it just right?
If you pit now, and that will put you to lap 109, if we do get enough cautions towards the later part of this race, it wouldn't be impossible to save those 20 laps fuel, especially if you're shutting the car off, fuel saving while they're under green flag. I almost feel like you could make it if you're stretching it far enough. It might not get you the win, but it could get you a top 10, which is a very, very solid finishing position. Especially if you're some of these guys like Guy Snyder or Garrett Velzy just stuck in the back of the pack. I mean, got to try and do whatever you can to make up a couple positions.
Yeah, Velzy has not had the season that he might have been hoping for here. I mean, he's currently 12th in points. 7 starts, no wins, 1 pole, no top 5s, no top 10s. His average start is 18.9. His average finish is 16.3. He just feels like this is another driver who potentially could be much higher in points without some issues not of his doing.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a big part of oval racing is your luck, just because there's so many cars crammed onto such a small track, and you're always so close together. However, on a road course, for example, there's a lot more room. You control your own destiny.
Just to give everybody an idea here, the time limit is 2 hours and 40 minutes. We are just approaching the 1 hour mark. So even with all the caution flags, we should be good on time here as we're getting ready to come back to green flag racing at lap number 66. Converse able to hold on to the lead. How about Nicholas Lockard looking to the high side? He's running the Harry Gant line in 1 and 2.
What a move, just cutting in front of the 42 car. That was impressive.
The pre-bizzle, if you will. Top 5 able to get themselves single file, top 4 single file down the front straightaway. First battle is going to be between Grigsby and Props. Not much of a battle there, though. Grigsby's actually going to be looking inside of Lockard for the 4th position. Through 3 and 4, Rob Pendleton grabs the race lead off of Christian Converse. Converse now going to dive back to the inside on 1 and 2. This is almost the game of trade the race lead here. Make the dive to the inside, get your tires all hot, be on the outside for a lap or 2, cool them back off. Coming around to put lap number 70 up on the scoreboard. Rob Pendleton just set the fastest lap of the race, 30.29 seconds.
The only problem with running side by side like this is you're both going to end up burning their equipment up. If I was Christian Converse, you've already led the most laps possible in the race. We're well over the halfway point now. I would just sit back, drop back to 2nd place, and wait till the end of this race to actually come back and take the lead.
This fantastic side-by-side duel continues through turns 1 and 2. I'll tell you what here, guys. We've been talking for almost an hour now. We haven't done this since the drop of the green flag. Let's all get the announcers to shut up for a minute. We'll let the race fans crank it up. So lap number 73 on the board. Tightest battle to the front of the field here. Going to be Joshua Gathright, Anthony Props side by side through turns 1 and 2. That's the fight for the 6th position. Nice recovery for Gathright after his early issue that saw one car basically sideswiping as he was coming back up onto the racetrack. Big dogfight of cars back here as well. Cody Henderson in that along with Evan Kelsey, Alan Martin, Darrell Rector, and Donnell Williams.
Almost looking to go 3 wide here exiting the turn.
That's a gutsy call off of turn number 4. Kelsey up against the outside safer barrier, dives it back down to the inside. 75 of 129 laps complete here at the Kansas Speedway. Most of the field has used the backup cars.
It's funny. I was just starting to think that the cars up front have finally figured, let's settle in, let's try to get some laps going. But the last few laps, the back of the pack has really kind of disproven that theory with some of the moves they're making. And up front again as well.
Yeah, Wendell Elliott diving inside of Christian Converse. Everybody here now on the same pit strategy, so this could be sort of, Patrick, what you were talking to with Christian Converse. This may be the first big green flag run of the race. It's time to settle in and really save your tires.
Oh my, as Christian Converse completely cuts the nose off of Wendell Elliott. Wow, that almost ended in tragedy for him.
Not a real good thing to do with.
Bizzle of the day.
I was going to say, another candidate. Big old bizzles flying around here at Kansas Speedway. Usually when things are flying around Kansas, there's a pistol involved. We've seen a whole bunch of that tonight as well.
Don't forget.
Here comes Nicholas Lockard looking to the outside of Wendell Elliott. We can see here now, James, where everybody is starting to move towards the high side. Basically, once you've developed enough heat in the tires, you can't go low even if you want to at this point.
Yeah, especially with the dirty air. I'm kind of surprised it's taken this long for them to... That was another bizzle right there.
Nice move by Nicholas Lockard through the tri-oval to pick up the third position, but Elliott going to fight right back to 1 and 2. Lockard's made 7 starts in this rookie campaign for him as well, and he's got 5 top 10s to show for it. Really having a very kind of quietly competitive season.
Yeah, he's really almost acting like Kevin Harvick, just sneaking up right at the end, getting himself in the finish, keeping himself locked into the championship, and maybe we'll see him come out in the final round of the playoffs and just steal the win right there.
Yeah. Harold Rector just slid right across the nose of Cody Henderson on corner exit. Henderson going to fight back to the inside through 3 and 4. Not quite close enough to attempt to pass down the front straightaway, but definitely seeing things settle in here as we work lap number 81, approaching the end of stage number 2. That will be a green flag at conclusion to the stage. No caution flag will be upcoming. Looking back in the pack, Brian Shaw coming around to Alan Martin. That's the fight for 13th, and someone to keep an eye on here is Garrett Velzy. We talked about the oddball strategy play. He is currently 5.9 seconds back of race leader Rob Pendleton. Not anywhere close to being in danger of going a lap down, but he's going to have a shot here to try to stretch the fuel as the fight for the lead heats back up again. Rob Pendleton coming around Christian Converse. Almost in that situation, James, when you're driving these cars, someone completes the pass on you for the race lead, you almost have to run the inside just to get the clean air back on the car.
Yeah, that's the problem with the dirty air and running this package, running the high line, is that you kind of have no choice but to really back it down and try to stay up high or run the inside. That's why we're in it. If someone is going to take the lead right now, it's going to be 100% slide job territory.
The slider would be coming from Nicholas Lockard, who got around Christian Converse for the second position.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too, is that when you try to make a move when it becomes a high-centric race, you really got to... You need... It's a big gamble to make the move, because if you don't make it, you are handing the car behind you your position. So you really have to sit there and wonder, how bad do I want this position? How bad do I want it now? And can I be able to complete it? Because as we saw right there, Christian tried, failed, and now he's sitting back in third. So it's a big risk trying to make a pass right now.
For the cars that stopped at lap number 52, pit window is now open as we are on lap number 86. They can go all the way to lap number 96, or at least right in the ballpark. However, what that means is that we are now in the area where you can make your final pit stop. Oh, as Converse slides right up in front of Lockers, chops the nose off on the exit of turn number 2.
Yeah, Converse wants this lead back in a bad way.
Yeah, but making that move when you're trying to pass someone who's in the similar predicament as you is one thing. Doing it on a car with clean air is something completely different. I mean, heck, not to do a shameless plug of myself, but all you need to do is go back to the second race of TNT on Tuesday and look at me. I was making move after move after move, but once I got up into second, trying those same tactics on Mike Berry with the clean air, nothing was working. So it's one thing to make that move on second place as a third place car, but it's a heck of a lot more difficult to make it as second place on the first place car.
The other car that stopped at lap number 64 that's towards the front of the field is Guy Snyder. He's in the 11th position and only about 3.5, maybe 4 seconds back of the race leader. You almost wonder, does he make that pit stop now and just kind of hope the rest of the race goes green? Christian Converse got it up into the outside wall in 1 and 2.
I would almost say you're locked into just staying out and either hoping for a caution or hoping you can save just enough.
You're basically trying the overcut strategy in a long roundabout way here, because you need everybody else to stop and then the caution flag comes, so you can make your stop under yellow and try to trap as many cars as possible a lap down.
The only thing with pitting under yellow in that scenario is all those cars that you now have a lap down, they all get the wave around. Your best case scenario to make that work is if you can time it right to you enter pit lane right as the caution comes out, which is very hard to do. It's impossible without a good deal of luck. That is one of the few ways you can trap the whole field one true lap down.
Christian Converse and Rob Pendleton continuing their fisticuffs at the front of the field. That 19 machine's got to be hooked up in a good way for him to be able to make the inside lane work like that. Not really seeing the big push towards the outside wall on corner exit. Seems like every time Converse tries that inside dive, he's got to back out of the throttle in 3 and 4 just a little bit, and that allows Nicholas Locker to catch right back up on him. Almost contact off of turn 4.
Oh, and another Bissell.
I say Lockard pretty wisely grabbing a little bit of brake there on the entrance to turn number 1. This is really, though, where you can see Lockard being smart, running a consistent line. He's going to have more tire late in this run than Christian Converse will.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of questioning Christian's driving strategy right now. At some point, you just kind of have to go, I'm not really going to make it happen this way. I just got to just got to sit back and stay patient now because he's just causing himself more harm in the long run. Especially backing up everyone else like this.
Wendell Elliott able to come around Nicholas Lockard. Joshua Gathright right there as well. He's now going to look inside the 10 car. This fight has really closed everything up here because Anthony Props and Darrell Rector are right in the middle of this fight as well. All deep inside the top 10. We have started to see the first pit stops being made. Evan Kelsey, Michael Pittman Jr., Timothy Pendergrass have all stopped lap 90, 91, and 92 respectively. We're anticipating stops in the range of lap 96 or so. This may be where we start to see the race leaders make their way down pit road. I would imagine they've saved a ton of fuel under caution here, but I tell you what, guys, this is by far the longest green flag run that we've had. Here comes Christian Converse down the pit lane.
He looked really, really hot coming into the pits. I don't know if he got a penalty or not. We'll see here if he has to hold in the pits.
I was going to say, if the stop ticks over 40 seconds, we'll know. In fact, if the stop ticks over about 15 seconds, we'll know. Christian Converse going to be the first car to hit his box. Slides through it just a little bit as well. Crew goes around, right sides up in the air. Will be for Goodyear Racing Eagles, 2 cans, Sunoco Fuel. And it looks like Christian Converse has gotten the pit speeding penalty. Over 20 seconds now in the pits. We talked about Converse having a tough season with mistakes that were not of his doing. This one most certainly was, as the number 19 machine continues to sit motionless on pit road, and he'll do so for about another 10 seconds, waiting for that pit speeding penalty to tick off.
That is just absolutely heartbreaking.
54.83 seconds, the time on the stop for Christian Converse. Guy Snyder hitting his box. Same thing, going to be 4 tires, 2 cans, Sunoco Fuel.
Christian Converse is only 1 lap down. If he can make it and get into that lucky dog position, if we do get a late race caution here, he is not out, but I think his chance to win is pretty much over for today, unfortunately.
Yeah, Donnell Williams now going to be making his way down pit road, the Swisher Sweets Chevrolet. Going to make his final visit to the pit area this evening. Also on the way out is the 23 of Mark McCurdy. That car is 6 laps down to the race leaders. Nicholas Lockard also on his way down pit road, as is Rob Pendleton. So first of the leaders we've seen way at the front end of the field, making their way down pit road. This is going to be, for all intents and purposes, the effective battle for the race lead here. Because these were the cars running second and third when Christian Converse came in for his stop. There's the backup car rolling out for the 31 of Rob Pendleton. Lockard's crew.
Did we see him get?
That car definitely took a reset. Yeah.
Hard.
You know what? I would say at this
that
point, if it's your last pit stop, take it. Everybody else making their way down pit road now. Wendell Elliott, Darrell Rector, Joshua Gathright, Anthony Props, Cody Henderson, Garrett Velzy, Alan Martin, all on the pit road. This will be their final stops of the race. They are all down and away. Now it becomes, where are the cars of Rob Pendleton, Garrett Velzy, and how about this one, ladies and gentlemen? new race leader, Evan Kelsey, stopped at lap number 90. He's going to have tires that are older than everybody else, but the undercut may have just played out for Evan Kelsey.
Yeah, he's going to be one lap in the good if we stay green the rest of this race. As long as he's saving fuel, he will be able to make it to the end.
Nicholas Lockard just making his way off of turn number 2. We'll see how quickly the gap shrinks. Wendell Elliott, a full second back of Lockard. Guy Snyder in the 27 runs in the 4th position, fighting with Wendell Elliott. This is the battle for 3rd. It'll be 25 laps to go this next time by, and we haven't shown him much, so let's show him to you now. Evan Kelsey is your race leader. Basically a heartbreaking strategy call away from claiming a victory earlier this season at Talladega. The car was very, very quick. Ultimately, strategy caught him out. But he is holding on to a 2.6 second lead over Nicholas Lockard. But that lead is shrinking in a hurry.
I was just about to say, Evan Kelsey's last lap was a 32.07. Nick Lockard in the 2nd position's last lap was a 31.1. Nearly a second faster. I would put maybe 2 more laps before Nick Lockard is right on Evan Kelsey's back bumper.
Pick up Frank Lockard here, and he's going to have Christian Converse right in front of him. These two continue the fight, but Converse going to be a lap down. At this point, Christian Converse needs yellow in a pretty big way, because that will make him the lucky dog.
This is exactly what Evan Kelsey wants to see in his rearview mirror. He wants to see, Nicholas Lockard fighting with the 19 car as hard as possible, slowing him down just long enough for Evan Kelsey to secure that checkered flag.
It may not make much of a difference here as Lockard is able to clear Converse into turn number 3, and the gap is inside of 1 second and shrinking as quickly as we can say it. Now almost down to a half second for Nicholas Lockard behind Evan Kelsey. Pit stop games are over.
Yeah, say, with how hard Evan Kelsey's going to need to push, I don't think he'll be able to save enough fuel to bring it to the end. So it's going to be a close one to see if he can even get a top 3 at this point, as Nicholas Lockard seems to just be driving away from him like he's standing still.
Darrell Rector going to be right on him for the 3rd position as well. Rector looks down to the inside. He will claim 2nd. Gonna have a pretty good run here on race leader Nicholas Lockard. And how about this, guys? Theoretically, the math says when everybody runs a similar pit stop time and similar in and out laps, you should have everybody bunched up close together. However, it never seems to happen that way. You always end up with 3 or 4 cars spaced out a little bit of a ways here. We have the top 7 cars in this race, all within a second and a half of each other. Coming down to about 15 laps to go as Kelsey scrapes the outside safety barrier on the exit of 2. Darrell Rector having several issues throughout the course of this race. He is now your race leader. By far the best run of the season for the 51 in 4 starts. He averages 14.5 for a start and an average finish of 17. Very, very good run tonight for Darrell Rector. And the way the point system works, a win locks you into the playoffs. So a guy like Nicholas Lockard, who's currently 4th in points, would love the lock-in and the bonus points that come with it. Darrell Rector is currently 25th in points.
Yeah, this would be huge for Darrell Rector if he can get the win tonight, lock himself into the playoffs, maybe change up his game for the playoffs, try and make it just a little bit further, make it to that final round, and get himself a win in that last round and win the championship. It's possible. We've seen it happen a couple times, especially just last season in the Cup Series. Chase Elliott with the same format. Didn't have a great season. He had a good season and ended up taking the championship when we all thought Denny Hamlin or Kevin Harvick would have taken it. So Darrell Rector could come in and just spice things up.
So let's give you the
But
rundown.
this is a little bit of a...
Go ahead, James.
It's a bit of a scenario than Chase, because Chase was always kind of there in some way, shape, or form. You said Darrell was 25th in points?
Yeah, 25th in points entering tonight's race. Only has 4 starts to the 6 or 7 of everybody else ahead of him in the field here. And the numbers have been okay, but he has actually 6 deductions in penalty points for a total of 14 incidents over his 4 races. This is an absolutely incredible drive tonight from Darrell Rector, catching up on the 44 of Timothy Pendergrass. Let's give you the full field rundown here as we get late in the race here. Patrick will come back to that thought in just a second. As Darrell Rector, your race leader, up 7 spots from the drop of the green flag. Nicholas Lockyer currently running in the 2nd position. He's had his fair share of issues as well, but not able to gain much on the 51. Good run again tonight, Mr. Consistency. Wendell Elliott currently running in the 3rd position. Good run for him. We saw Joshua Gathright make a trip through the infield earlier in this race. He's back up to running in the 4th position. And a very good run tonight for Guy Snyder on his debut with the High Side Cup Series. Currently running 5th. Just behind him in 6th is Rob Pendleton. Led a lot of this race early on. And a good fight back here between Anthony Props and Cody Henderson for 7th. Patrick, go ahead.
I was going to say, I almost wonder if there's a little bit teammate shenanigans going on here, where Nicholas Lockard is just going to sit behind Darrell Rector, try and get both those cars into the playoffs.
It's not a bad school of thought, quite frankly. You wonder if Darrell Rector is completely in on what those discussions might be. I would imagine with how good the competition is here, you want to win in the High Slide Cup Series. This is one of the better leagues in iRacing, and we're seeing it here as Joshua Gathright looking to the inside of Wendell Elliott in turns 1 and 2. Getting very close to that 23 machine of Mark McCurdy. They'll be able to clear the lap car easily through 1 and 2. Elliott thought about fighting back to the inside, but Gathwright's going to hold the position into 3. 10 laps remaining here at the Kansas Speedway. We have been green since lap number 66. The announcer's curse, bound to strike. I will bite the bullet this time. About the last thing Darrell Rector wants to see is a caution flag. That is for sure. as that's going to bunch everybody back up. Nicholas Lockard getting to within about 3 car lengths as they work through turns 3 and 4. I tell you what, though, James, like you mentioned, catching them's one thing, passing them is something entirely different.
Oh yeah, if it continues being a highline race right now, it's kind of, well, I'm not going to finish that thought because I really don't want to jinx him, but yeah, I'm alluding to. I just kind of want to point out right now, Rob Pendleton, he was the big loser in that pit sequence, not named Christian Converse. He had the race pretty well in hand, but the undercut just really came at him hard.
Yeah, and to make matters worse for Christian Converse here, he's been passed by Michael Pittman Jr. and Derek Grigsby, so he's now 2 spots out of the lucky dog if that late caution flag should fly. We're only down to 10 cars remaining on the lead lap. 124 going up on the scoreboard now for Darrell Rector. And the gap's holding pretty consistent at about 0.3 of a second. Closest battle on the racetrack is going to be between Garrett Belzy and Evan Kelsey. At least the battle's for position anyway. And you can see there's probably about 6-7 car lengths between those two. So we're down to 5 laps to go, and we have a new race leader, Nicholas Lockard. Get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. Darrell Rector pounds the outside retaining wall. That car is going to be absolutely junk. Tough break for Darrell Rector.
Say, he's down in the 3rd place now.
Yep, he's back in 3rd, battling with Joshua Gathright. This is the hard part now where you need to just not compound your mistake. You know you lost the lead, you may have lost the win, but now you need to not lose a very good points finish here with a second mistake on top of the one that's already been made.
Yeah, he needs to settle in and run these last 3 laps. He's got about a second gap back to Wendell Elliott, so he just needs to sit where he is and unfortunately just be happy with 3rd place finishing position.
Wendell Elliott may have to deal with Guy Snyder here. As the 17 of Michael Pittman Jr. not exactly being cooperative here with Wendell Elliott. This is the battle for the 4th position as we are down to 2 laps remaining for Nicholas Lockard. White flag is out. 1 lap to go here at Kansas Speedway for Nicholas Lockard. Just needs to keep it clean. The lead is 1.5 seconds over Joshua Gathright. Down the backstretch for the final time. Everything looks good for the Tide Ride. Clean through 3 and 4. Checkered flag will fly. Nicholas Lockard picks up the win here in the High Slide Cup Series at Kansas. Joshua Gathright comes home 2nd. Darrell Rector 3rd. Guy Snyder getting around Wendell Elliott. Get you the quick replay on that one as it was the fight for 4th. We talked about that 17 machine not being real hospitable to Wendell Elliott. very good run for Guy Snyder in his debut in the High Slide Cup Series. He comes home in the 4th position, but the man of the hour is Nicholas Lockard. He'll bring it down the front straightaway and get ready for the smoke show here. As he's burning them down, let's get you your final results here from Kansas Speedway. Nicholas Locker, Joshua Gathright, Darrell Rector on the podium. We'll talk to each of those 3 drivers here in just a moment. Guy Snyder, Wendell Elliott round out your top 5. Rob Pendleton, Anthony Props, Donnell Williams, Garrett Velzy, and Evan Kelsey, your top 10. 11 through 15, Michael Pittman Jr., Derek Grigsby, Christian Converse, Alan Martin, and Cody Henderson. Brian Shaw, Timothy Pendergrass, Mark McCurdy, and Art Greco. Also Nathan Aldrich back through 20th position. 21st, Andrew Schroeder. 22nd, Brian Rumpf. 23rd, Brian Grubbs. 24th, Joseph Causey. And in 25th, Brooks Durding. Let's get our start getting our drivers lined up here for the interviews. First, we'll pick up our 3rd place finisher here tonight, Darrell Rector. And Darrell, you had a heck of a run tonight. It seemed like strategy was just about ready to play your way. Then you have the late contact with the outside wall in the front stretch.
Yeah, just drove it in there a little too hard, man. It was, I knew I missed my mark right when I did it. And after you do that, old tires, there's no coming back. So, hell of a run for Nick Lockard. That was great. Congratulations, teammate. That was awesome. I just want to thank my sponsor, Lockard IT. And there's a whole bunch I don't know actually behind the scenes that I need to get first and foremost out. But as soon as I learned that. Anyway, thank you guys. And that was a great run. It was great.
Yeah, it was one of those where we made the call that you came in at lap number 90, and it looked like, to use the open wheel term, you were using the undercut strategy. Did you think the lead was going to be as good as it was when you were catching up to Nick and Evan Kelsey there after the pit stops?
Yeah, I had a little bit different tire strategy there at the end. I think it played my way more than I thought it would. I think a couple laps on tires, man, they're gone.
Well, it was a fantastic run to the podium tonight, and nice job getting the sponsors out early as well. So congratulations on the podium. It's a heck of a points night. Looking forward to talking to you again, hopefully next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the time, guys.
There you go. There's 2nd place finisher, Darrell Rector. Taking a look to see if we can find our 2nd place finisher. We don't quite see him yet. So let's bring in your race winner tonight, Nicholas Lockard. What a fantastic drive for that Lockard IT number 10.
Yes, it was. Thanks. Man, I tell you what, that was quite the experience there toward the end when I seen my teammate there clip the wall, got out of shape. I really wasn't for sure where he was going to go, but luckily he held on to it. We kept running our line. Our strategy played out, and we were able to capture that win there.
It was a good run. The car looked very, very strong all night, and sometimes when you have these races that are kind of caution-filled early, it really is about just keeping the car clean and making sure you're in a position to contend late.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I hung out in the back for the first half of this race. I knew there were going to be cautions. I didn't want to be a part of it. I just kept coming down, packing this thing full of fuel and just waiting. I was doing really good at saving my tires during all that, and it really played out for us toward the end there when he got a long run.
Yeah, we kind of made a comment about the fact that you had made something like 8 pit stops by lap 23. That ultimately is part of the strategy call. You almost have to play the races that way when you think they're going to be caution filled.
Yeah, with these type of races here, I mean, I kind of look at it kind of like a mini Talladega, like a restrictor plate racing, where it's just everyone's grouped up, pretty much wide open for a good portion of the runs, and so I knew danger was out there, and everyone was just taken and not given, and so our strategy was just to survive the first part of that, and that's exactly why I kept coming on pit road, get in the back, be able to have a reaction time, not have to worry about getting ran over, and that really helped out.
Well, great run tonight. Locks you into the playoffs as well. Some of the guys ahead of you in points had some issues tonight as well. So all in all, a fantastic night. And one question we got to ask you, have you heard the format for the All-Star race yet?
No, I have not.
Haha. Well, then we're not going to spoil it, because that tells me that Garrett and the rest of the admin team has not told you guys. However, we said what it is on the broadcast. Enjoy the watch back. We'll say it that way. You guys are going to be putting on a show next week for sure. So looking forward to seeing you in maybe a little different type of looking Tide Ride next week.
Yeah, that's good to know. I'll definitely have to talk to the paint crew, see if we can't throw something special on it for an all-star race. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're like I said, the car may be different, but yeah, have some fun with that one. So congratulations on the win. We're looking forward to talking to you again next week.
Thanks everyone. Appreciate everything you do. Love the league. Love the broadcast. You do an awesome job. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Locker.it. Locker.it specializes in cybersecurity for both residential and businesses of all sizes. So check them out at Locker.it. Primary sponsors. Again, thank you for putting on this. This is an awesome league. Appreciate the opportunity.
There you go. Well done, sir. Thank you very much for that one. And we got one more interview to get here, and that is with Joshua Gathright, your runner-up finisher this evening. I tell you what, that 89 machine was at one point in the grass on the front stretch, getting banged up a little bit, and you still brought the thing home in second. Heck of a run for you tonight.
Yeah, man, I started the race by getting ran over by my teammate, destroyed, and then I dang smacked the wall on my own, hit the grass, then came back up on the apron and smacked somebody. So I'm sorry to him, but yeah, we tucked it in and brought it home, I guess.
You know what? Those kind of adventures are sometimes the fun way to do things here. At least maybe not from the driver's seat, but it was a show for the viewers. That's for sure. Ultimately, it really boiled down to how the strategy played out after that last set of pit stops. What was your thought process going into it and making up the ground coming out of it?
My thought process was to have enough fuel to make it to the stage, which was at 100, and then I just decided to run the car absolutely empty on fuel and go out there with as fresh tires as I could and commit to it at the end, just wide open, send it. So,
well, you said it for sure and brought it home in second place. So congratulations on the podium finish tonight. And who would you like to thank?
Just a shout out to my sponsor, Burnt Out Apparel, Performance Sim Sport, Firehouse Gaming. Good job, Nick, for whooping all our butts. And Daryl, man, he was a rocket. I think he'd have been in front of me if he didn't smack that wall there at the end. So hell of a run by those two too.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun, that's for sure. So congratulations on the podium, and we're looking forward to talking to you next week.
All righty. Thank you, fellas. Have a good night.
So there you go. There's your top 3 finishers as we come back to the live scenic views of Kansas Speedway. And James, we'll come to you first here. By my count, you caused 6 cautions this evening, but all in all, this really was a fun race once things started to get settled in.
Yeah, it was a blast to watch. There was a really good mix of strategy, chaos, destruction, and real good hard racing, which is really, you can't really ask for more than that now, can you?
No, not really. And Patrick, we're going to get to have a heck of a show next week here for the All-Star race. We won't spoil it again in case we spoiled it once already tonight, but 7 days from now, we are going to have a heck of a party.
Oh, absolutely. It is going to be amazing. It's going to be very similar to some of our TNT special events, and I'm excited thoroughly for it after learning of the surprise earlier this evening. It's definitely on my to-do list. Looking forward to it.
There you go, everybody. A very good, what turned into a very, very good race here at the Kansas Speedway. Coming up next week, the non-points all-star race. You don't want to miss it for sure. We'll get the announcement out during the week here with it as well, but that was a ton of fun throughout the night here, and we're looking forward to more broadcast excellence coming up this week. A little bit of a quiet week here for the National Racing Network as iRacing hits its week 13. Every iRacing season goes 12 weeks in length. Week 13 is when all the new updates get pushed out, all the cars get updated, and basically what ends up happening is there's no official series races. So no sprint or Silver Crowns on Monday, no sprint cars on Tuesday. However, we do have the TNT PM18 All Oval Series coming up on Tuesday night. Wednesday night will be the High Side Hustle with Burt Wojcik and Adam Rubright. If you missed it, check out the interview with Indy 500 winning car owner Mike Shank last week. That was a pretty good one. Coming up on Thursday night, we have the Ezra IndyCar Series. And then Friday night, we're back to Linda's Speedway for live radio coverage from Jonestown, Pennsylvania. So not as busy of a week, but still a lot of content coming your way. For James Watson and Patrick Byrne, my name is Chris Graham. It's been a pleasure to have you with us here this Sunday evening. We will talk to you soon. Have a good night, everybody.